Okay, so again, welcome. We're going to be looking at Screencastify, some tips, how you can use this, a variety of different ways, whether you're face-to-face with your students, maybe you're going to a conference and you're going to be out for a day or two, whatever it might be. These are different ways that you can use Screencastify. So let's take a look. So Screencastify, it's a recording capture tool. So you can either record your screen or you can just use the webcam and record yourself. So those are two options. Students typically use it as the webcam because it's so simple, because it works directly with their Google Drive. So that's a helpful thing. There's also drawing tools so you can mark on the screen, which is a nice feature because if you're trying to show the kids how to do something, you can use those tools, and they've improved them. There's the rectangle tool, and the spotlight tool has been there, but it's a great feature and so forth. So we're going to look at all of those while we're recording. And I notice I'm not taking it into presentation mode because I have some examples that I want to show you and go back and forth. So I'm leaving it in this mode for a purpose. So with the free version, you get unlimited recordings. And like I said, it stores in your drive. So you're not taking up space on your computer. You don't have to worry about, oh, what computer did I record that on? Everything gets stored directly into your drive. And I'm going to pull up my Black River screen for just a second. And you can see right here, I have a Screencastify folder. So if you've used Screencastify, it automatically creates that folder and it puts all of your videos in there. So it does all of the managing for you, the organizing, and with that folder. So, and you should see it in your drive. Okay. You can easily share to Google Classroom. So when this is used with Google Classroom, it allows you to create the post right from Screencastify. It does the share settings for you so you can share it with your students and so forth. You have the ability to trim. So, you know, at the beginning, I'm horrible with videos. You've probably watched some of my videos. At the beginning, I usually take a while to get started. I'm trying to share my screen, whatever it might be, and I already started the recording, or at the end, I'm fumbling around trying to figure out where the stop is and so forth. So you can trim those off the beginning and the end of your videos. You have the ability to export. And I'm going to show you guys an example. I have used this quite a bit as animated GIFs, which is nice. I've posted them on the Progress Book login page before for different things, just simple instructions so people can see where to go, where to click, and so forth. But you have the ability to export them as MP3, MP4s, depending on what you need, you know, if you're sending them someplace and so forth. And Screencastify has taken off their watermark. I put one on here. This is just something I created. All Screencastify videos used to have that on there. It's nice now because we use it so much. You don't want it always saying Screencastify. You just want to get this information over to them. So limitations to the free version, you only get 5 minutes of video length. So sometimes that is hard, but if you're just doing a simple instruction or something like that, it's perfect. And sometimes 5-minute video keeps those kids engaged. So once you start getting in over 15, 20 minutes, you lose your students' attention. So sometimes 2 or 3 5-minute clips is better than having one long video. And with the free version, you can only trim at the beginning of the video or at the end of the video. You cannot trim in the middle, where the pay for version allows you to trim wherever you want. So it's a great feature. I use it all the time because I screw up a lot when I'm recording, to be honest. So I can chop stuff out and blend them together. So if you guys would take a second and put in the chat if you have the paid for version or the free version, just so I know what version you're running and how much time to kind of spend on both of them, or if you're thinking about paying for the pay for version. Okay, looks like a lot of you are free. Okay, so it looks like Hillsdale has paid for it, and I know Black River has paid for it. Okay, great. So we're going to look at everything. We're going to go through it. And like I said, I have the two different accounts. One's paid, one's free. But so let's look at what we can do with this. So a lot of different things. I have some old videos on here that I'm not going to show you, but I want to show you or just have you listen to key things for examples. And oh, that just reminded me. I'm going to stop my screen share for a second because I forgot to share the sound. So let me say share sound and reshare. You probably didn't see much happen, but you should be able to hear sound now once I share these clips. But when we're looking at this, what can we do with them? So just instructional videos, instructional help, whatever it might be. You can see here I have an animated GIF. So when I'm teaching some gradebook tips, SPS tips, things like that, a lot of times I put the instructions in an animated GIF. It plays on its own. You don't have to worry about like these videos, how you have to click on the play button. It just repeats itself over and over again. So you can watch them, you can and I'm actually going to bring this up so you guys can see this a little bit better, but you can see my clicks. It has my little click tool. It's moving through and it's just going to keep repeating. The other thing that I can do is a remediation. So maybe your students need help with something. So maybe you do a quick recording on how to do a worksheet. Maybe a student struggled with the worksheet. They had the wrong concept. They did it all wrong. You can go through how to do that worksheet and they can do it at home for homework. It doesn't have to be in the class anymore when you're creating these videos. It doesn't have to be because we're remote learning. You might say, hey, go home, correct this worksheet and watch this video so you can correct this worksheet properly. Independent learning. Maybe you have students that are working on a project, but you want to give them some type of instruction for that project. It's always great to have a video for students who've missed class. Maybe you know that there's an upcoming field trip and you have 25 kids throughout the day that are going to miss class. You do one of your classes, do the recording of it so you have it so you can share it with those students. Tutorials for staff. So show them how to do something. So depending on your position, maybe you want to show them how to log into the online curriculum and create their class list or, import their book, whatever it might be. You can create a quick little video for them to watch. And this is the neat one that we always forget to think about is this is helpful for parents as well. So not only do I have to create videos for students and or staff, I can create a video and share it, put it on my website, whatever it might be, and allow parents to see it. So listen to this one. I just want you to listen.
Hello, parents. Again, this is Mr. Williams. We're moving right
I'm
along
hoping you
with
can hear
our
that.
fourth.
Maybe not. I'm not sure because it's coming through my computer. But it says, hello, parents. And he has a way of how to explain how the math homework is going to be done. So he's working out one problem so the parents can see how it's done. So it's an instruction for them. It's not an instruction for the students. I know that would have been helpful for me as my kids, all my kids, their math skills are beyond me. So, when they're working on stuff, I'm like, I don't know how to do that. Or sometimes the way that they're learning now is different than how I learned. So it would be nice to know, oh, okay, you got to estimate first and then this. And so that's a way to get instructions to your parents, as well as maybe you're going to be absent for the day. You want the kids to continue, but you're like, oh, I'm sick, I can't, I can't be in class, but I need them to keep continuing so I can stay on track. Do a quick little recording, just like you would stand up in front of the class. You can now do that recording, post it in your Google Classroom, and instruction keeps going, because as we know with the sub shortage, we don't always get the subs that know our content area. Narrating. So again, you might just narrate through a slideshow, whether it is to make a storybook or a cartoon, you're reading something, or it might be something like explaining. So, and of course, I don't necessarily have lessons like you would have lessons, a science lesson or math lesson, but you can explain this. So of course our presentations normally have key points. So they might have a few things. So now I'm going to discuss this. So I'm going to talk about the slides and I'm going to narrate through it. I'm going to control the screens of how fast I want them to click and so forth. So instead of just giving the slides to the kids and letting them interpret themselves, now I am doing the recording, going through those slides, and the students know where they should be. Assessments for students. So remember, our students can use this. So most of our districts have it turned on for our students so that they can get to this. So this is great for students to do things at home for homework and record it. Whether it's working out a math problem, whether it's speaking in a foreign language, maybe you have a student that missed a spelling test. So for example, and I'm going to go into, hopefully you guys can hear this better. But this teacher, and this is not me, this is a teacher, she puts her spelling test in Google Forms. Everything is blank. The questions are just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but she reads the spelling test. So a student that's absent, they can do the spelling test maybe the next day in the back of the room. And now it's not taking the time away from the teacher for that one-on-one with the student who missed it. So you can see.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Here is your spelling test for this week. Don't forget to type your name in the box that says name. Number 1 is father. My father took me to the movies.
So you can see she is saying the word, reading the sentence, just like if she was in the class and the student is typing it in. So again, it's a time saver for the teacher because we know now there's not enough hours in a school day to work one-on-one with all these kids when they're missing and so forth. So other things, student performances, so band, choir, speeches, things like that. The students can use these to submit their performance. So for example, when we think of speeches, we think of, standing up in front of the class, kids get nervous, they forget where they're at, or they're flipping through their note cards, they're not looking up. Well, now with this, instead of just having those note cards in front of them, now they're looking at the camera, but we'll call it a cheat. They can cheat because they can pull this up, and they can do their web recording, and instead of having those notebook cards, they can see it on their screen. So it looks like they're looking at the computer. They have their little notes here. They're doing their recording, and they can submit that to their teacher. So again, another great way to show student performance, kind of eases some of the nervousness off of them. They also have that ability to have their notes and stuff right in front of them. Providing feedback for students. Now a lot of us are grading everything online. With the grading online, sometimes you're typing things and you're like, oh, this is taking forever, or I really need to explain this to my student, and it's just too much to type. Well, with this, it's a little bit nicer because now I could do a screen recording through Screencastify, and I can explain what they need to do. And again, not me, but this is an example of somebody that used that. I'm going to fast forward just a little bit.
Give a commentary to it. I wouldn't have done the preamble. So this is a piece of student work, and if I wanted to give a commentary to it, I wouldn't have done the preamble that I've just done now. What I'd do is something like this. I might highlight that. That's a really good introduction paragraph, but I think you need to say a little bit more about the Arrhenius equation and how...
So he's highlighting, he's stating what needs to be done. And of course, he's giving an example. So it's not, real student work. I'm not sure if you guys could tell that really wasn't me with the accent and all. But so it's a way to give long feedback for your students. without having to type everything. Because sometimes those comments, they can get pretty lengthy. So how else can Screencastify be used? So again, hopefully, cross our fingers, everybody is back face-to-face with all of their students in the fall. But what else can we do? So again, like I said, Screencastify can be used for you. It could be used for your students. So you can do things like morning announcements. Kids can do show and tell. Maybe they're not bringing stuff in anymore, but they want to show maybe their favorite toy or something like that. They can do interviews with their favorite person, or what do you want to be when you grow up, and they interview a person. So they can use Screencastify for that. A lot of times seniors have projects their senior year, so they can capture some of those moments, or they can discuss what they did for their senior project through Screencastify. So, and again, it all depends with the free or the paid version, because the free is 5 minutes and then the paid is unlimited. I don't know if they actually do cut you off at a specific time, but as far as I know, it is unlimited. Okay. So let's take a look. And right now I'm just going to stay in my free version, because I do have some of you that are in the free version. So a couple good things. And again, these are some tips. Oh, and let me just show you, by the way, if you're not sure of this, the 3 little lines, you can always go to help. And then inside of the help, you have, it's got to verify, you have your support articles. So these are going to take you through all of the different sections. So getting started, the record is the free version. That's what we have. And then edit and submit. I don't use submit. That is like it's like creating assignments and stuff through Screencastify, but we'll go through the edit as well. So all that stuff is here by going to those 3 little lines and then going to help. Okay. So let's go back here. So let's look at the new features. So I want to make sure you guys are aware of this. You can see here, I have the record for free. So this is my free version. If I switch over to my Black River account and I click on it, it is now called Record Unlimited. So that is how I know if I have the free version or the paid for version. And I'm going to be the bearer of bad news, but those of you that have the pay version, Hillsdale and Black River, depending on when they registered for it, the subscription is for 1 year. So you might have the paid for version one day and the next day you're back to free. So just be aware of that as the time comes up, or you might want to ask your curriculum or tech person when it expires. So you'd be aware of that ahead of time. Oh, and you guys don't want to see that one. Go back here. Okay, so let's look at, I want to show you the new tools. And I'm just going to keep it on this screen so you guys can kind of see. Is everybody comfortable with the difference between the desktop recording and a browser recording? I just want to make sure that everybody's clear on that, or if you're still having problems with it, let me know and I'll definitely go over that. So just put it in the chat real quick if you want me to cover that real quick. Okay. So we're just going to base it off what Mike said. So we're going to move on. I'm just going to do a quick little browser recording. So looking at my options, if I am doing a recording for something, like I've done a lot of special service recordings, gradebook recordings, things like that, I try to give myself time, because a lot of times, especially now, I'm doing the recording through my paid version, but I have to open up stuff in my TCCSA Google account. So I give myself 10 seconds before the recording starts. So that's so I can get my screen set up, my mouse where I want it to be, and so forth. The drawing tools is what I want to show you. Oh, and I put my book away too. I had my book out. And I want to show you the webcam, just some of the features that the webcam does to make sure that you're aware of this. So we're going to do this on the browser tab. I'm going to enable my webcam so you guys can see this. And I'm going to start my recording. Okay, so I'm just kind of going to record gibberish. What a delay. That was a big delay. So you can see me. Okay. So it's not recording yet. I'll wait. Okay, so this is a browser recording with the webcam enabled, and you'll see my new tools here. So I can stop my webcam. It's a lot clearer than what it used to be. So I can start and stop it right from here. So you can see I disappeared. I can click on it and I can come back. Okay, so now I'm back. Other new items are the rectangle tool, which I like. So I can draw around a certain area instead of just trying to use my pen tool. So then if I want to draw around a couple things, I can click on them, have those selected, and then when I'm ready, I can click on back. Just be aware, or I'm sorry, clear selection to clear it, and then back to get back to everything. So every one that you go into, so if I go into my stickers, you'll notice you have the back here in order for you to get back to that main toolbar. Okay, so now I can put stickers in different places. So you can see I have a few different stickers here. I can collapse it, I can enlarge it, and then of course clear my selection, and then I can go back. Okay. We still have the normal pen tool. I have my pen options, several different colors. So I can circle something in red right here. I can underline something in blue. You can even have students do this if you have created a Google slideshow, you know, and say do a recording and use these colors for nouns, this color for adjectives, and so forth. Okay, because if they're recording, you're going to be able to see it on their screen when they record. So again, clear the selection, and then I can go back. Okay. So my mouse tool, if I click on that, okay, it defaults to the mouse tool, but you'll see here, I also have the focus tool. So I can do my highlights. So if I'm going through, and then they have just some normal ones. This is my normal, I can click, but my clicks one has the actual, it'll have the circle. So if you're doing a recording and you're giving instructions, you might want the clicks. And then of course, we now have to have fun stuff. So we have fireworks because, you know, what kid does not like fireworks? So we looked at our tools. Let's look at our video here. So I'm going to move this around. So a lot of people don't know you can move this. So if it's in your way, you can get it out of the way. Maybe if you're reading something, and I'm going to turn off my fireworks. If you're reading something to the students, okay, you might want to enlarge yourself so they can see you plus the reading. So it might be a web page. Okay, so you can have both of them here. But here is what I want to show you. This is when you are doing a screen, I'm distorting myself. This is when you are doing a screen recording only. This does not apply when you are doing the webcam. Okay, so just be aware of that. So when we are looking at this, you have a couple options in your webcam. So remember, you can turn your webcam on and off. Okay, so I can turn it off. I can turn it back on. I can also go to full screen. So maybe I showed them something in a slideshow and then I want to talk to them. Okay, class, here I am. Okay, nice and big, takes me full screen. I am here. Then I can exit full screen. Okay, and this is going to be my close the webcam. So just make sure when you're opening and closing with the same button. The other is the flip. So if you look, okay, sorry, I had it set, but by default, it is going to be backwards. So if you are trying to show them a book and you're going to read the students a book, and I know most of us are middle school, high school, so you're not going to be reading a children's book, but maybe you're doing an example. Okay, so maybe you're doing a science project or a math project. It's going to be backwards. So you're going to need to flip your camera. So if I flip it, now it is going to be correct. It should hold that setting once you have changed it one time. Okay, so the next time I go into do a screen recording, it should be flipped for me. So just be aware of that. And like I said, when you do just a regular web camera recording, I'm running out of my time. When you do a regular webcam recording, you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so I'm going to stop this. It's going to save my recording. Okay, now this is again where it automatically saves into my my Google Drive. Okay, so couple things. So we're going to talk about Classroom here for a second before we get into the paid for version. So when we're working with our Screencastify, we have the ability over here. We have a few things. You can see it's saving. This is a longer one. I should just trash this before it's done saving. Okay. When we're working on this, and I'm going to go back into, well, we'll just talk for a second. So when we're looking at a video, we'll look at this one. You have a few options. Okay, so once it's saved into your drive, you have the ability to get a shareable link. Okay, so that would be just like going into your video, into the folder and sharing it. Okay, the other option is how do I want to share it? Okay, so this is just through Google Drive. This is the ability to share it other ways. So if you have a YouTube channel, you can share it through there. Maybe you want to get the embed code to put it in a website, or you can send it via email for parents. So maybe you're creating something for parents. So when I'm looking at this, all your videos are private to you. Nobody else can see them. They're stuck in your drive. They're waiting for you to do something with it. Okay, so I'm going to show you an example for morning announcements, and we're going to do this twice. And I want you to see the two different ways that I create these videos to make sure that you understand the share settings and what has to be done in order for your students to be able to see them. Okay, so I'm just going to create a quick little web recording. And notice I don't have the ability to turn off my web camera because I'm doing the webcam. And 10 seconds is kind of long for this, but. Okay, so good morning, class. This is our daily announcements. Today we are going to, okay, so I'm going to have that one recorded. Okay, I'm just going to let this save. Okay, so this is not going to be shared. I'm not going to click anything over here. I'm just going to leave it alone. Okay, so we're going to look at this two ways. Okay, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to use this video and we're going to put it into a slideshow. So when we're thinking of slideshows, we typically think of getting information out to the students based on a topic, but some teachers use it for the ability of their agenda. So this is what we're doing on Monday, this is what we're doing on Tuesday, and so forth. So you can see this teacher here has put information for her. It's her morning message to the class. Okay, so this is actually a link to it. I'm going to show you a little bit different, but she has put the link here for the students to click on. So I'm going to click on a new slide. And this is going to be called my not shared. You can probably figure out where I'm going with this, but I'm going to insert that video. So I'm going to go into insert. I'm going to go to video. I am going to find in my Google Drive, my Screencastify folder, and find that video. And since I worked on this last, it's going to be right there. I'm going to say select. And it's bringing it in. Okay, so it's thinking because I just recorded it. It does take a few seconds. I should say a few minutes to get everything in. So now I am going to take this presentation. Okay, so this is going to be called my not shared presentation, and I'm going to send this to my students. So this is Monday's daily announcement. So I'm going to create, it's just going to be material. I want this for my students. I'm going to add that slideshow that I just created. Everything's taking a second today. Okay, so now I'm going to insert this. So great. I don't have to make a copy for each student or anything because it's material. I am going to put this in today's work. It's going to all students. I'm going to switch over screens and go to my demo student and look at this new assignment. So I'm going to go into my classroom, go under today's work. Here is my Monday morning announcement. So even though I shared it through Google Classroom, okay, I shared it, I brought it over. Once the student clicks on it, you'll notice this. It says you need permission to view this. So even though the slideshow itself is shared, the video is not. So what do I have to do? So I would have to go into my drive. I can do this two ways. Okay. So I can go into my drive and go into my Screencastify folder, and I can find that video and share it. Okay, so I can do it this way. So that's one. My second way is I can go into my video here. So through Screencastify. So if you're not sure how to get back to your videos, click on it, my recordings. And then once I open up my recording, I can say, get the shareable link. That's all I have to do in Screencastify is say, get the shareable link, and it's automatically going to share it appropriately. So you can now see it changed from private that it was earlier to anybody with the link can view it. So now if my demo student refreshes their page and clicks on the button, they now have access to it. Okay, so good morning. Okay. So that's one thing that you have to be aware of if you're putting it into some other type of document, whether it's a link, whether it's the actual video, you want to make sure that it's shared properly. Okay, so let's go back to here. I'm going to do another web recording. This one I'm going to call Classroom. I should probably change that. Remind me next time to change it from 10 seconds. This one, I'm going to show you guys how to share it directly through Classroom without even clicking on that shareable link. Okay, so it's recording. I'm going to change the name of this to Classroom. And then I'm going to go into my Google Classroom. So you'll notice the only thing I did was change the name of it. The only reason why I have to put a name on it is because I did a web recording or the webcam. If I do any type of browser tab recording, it's automatically going to name it with whatever browser, whatever I'm looking at. So it kind of names it for you. So I'm not clicking over here, not doing anything. I'm just going to go into my Google Classroom and I'm going to create another material. This is going to be Tuesday's announcement. I'm going to add. Nope, I'm sorry. Why am I in Classroom? I'm trying to show you through here. That's why it threw me off what I was doing. So you have some different options here. You'll notice that it's still private. Okay, I can share it this way, but if I click on the more, I also have the ability to share to Classroom. Okay, so I can change the share setting. I can then add it into Classroom and so forth. Lots of clicks. Okay, and like I said, threw me off because I'm like, why was I coming here? I didn't want to come here. I am going to do it directly through Screencastify. Go to share to Classroom. Notice, I don't know if you caught that real quick. It says enabling the share link. It's going to ask me what classroom I want to put it in. I want to create material and I'm going to say go. And this is going to pop up. Okay. So you'll notice it automatically attaches that video to it. Okay. So it's saying what the video title is, but I can change this. So I'm going to put Tuesday announcement. I'm going to share it to the whole class and put it in today's work and hit post. Now, when I go in as a student, go down to my today's work. Let me refresh real quick. Here's my Tuesday announcement. And once I click on it, it automatically has the share settings so I can view it. Sorry, I'm doing it too quick. It's not keeping up with me. It's still processing the video, but the student would be able to directly see it. Okay. So again, I didn't have to actually click on the share setting. I'm just sharing it through Classroom. And because it is an attachment, it automatically does the share for me. If I put it into something else, such as a Google slide, I need to share. Okay. So, few other things. Let's look here. And the only downfall that I see to Screencastify is it always opens up a new tab. So watch how many tabs you have open at the top, because sometimes it could get pretty crazy up there. So a few things that I want to point out to you is that when you are recording, okay, if I make any changes to my Screencastify name, so I put Classroom New. If I switch back to my Google Drive, it's automatically going to update it in there. If I change it in here and I rename it here, it will go back. Call this renamed. It's going to change it in here as well. I might have to refresh. Make it back to my screen. Again, it opens a bunch of tabs. Okay, you can see it refreshed and it populated that. Okay, so again, so that works back and forth. Now, this is the tricky part. Okay, if I remove this here, this renamed, it's going to say that it's deleting it from my device as well as my Drive account. So it's deleting it from Screencastify as well as Drive. So we're going to hit delete. It's going to disappear. When I go in here, you can see that it's gone. Okay. However, it doesn't work the opposite way. And I'm not quite sure why. But if I delete this one called not shared and I remove it, it's going to put it in the trash. But when I come back here, it's going to stay here. Okay, so if you're trying to clean things up, make sure you're deleting it from here so it deletes it in both places. Okay, now we're going to look at some of the paid for options that you have. Okay, so the sharing, that works with everything. Oh, and I did want to do a download. So let's look at one of these real quick. So this is just a Google Slides. So, and every slide I put a new thing on it so I can make a banner for my Google Classroom. Okay. So again, I can trim stuff off from the beginning or the end. Okay. I do have to click on save on this screen or it doesn't trim anything. So you don't know how many times I've done that and forgot to click on it. I just moved the scissors. Then I'm like, why is it still so long? Well, because I didn't click on it correctly. So now once I have it created, so I've done my recording. So I just did a screen recording. I shut off my audio so they can't hear me because I just want a banner. So I did a browser. In this case, I believe I did desktop so that when I open up the presentation, you're able to see the presentation. Sometimes with the tab or browser tab, it goes and it doesn't record it properly. So desktop will definitely record both screens. Okay, now that I'm done recording it, I want to download, and you can see here are all my download options. So if I export this as an animated GIF, if I click on that, it's going to ask me my size. So if I want it for banner size, I'm going to export it. It's going to take a second to export. It's taking a long second. It's only a 9-second video. You will see once you hit export, you still have to hit download. Okay, so that's kind of what I wanted to bring out with this. So even though it says downloads, you can download it directly, but if you're doing a GIF, you have to export, then download. So I'm going to hit download and you're going to see it'll populate here. And now I have my animated GIF. Okay, and you're thinking, well, it's got all the screen tools on there and so forth. When you're using it for a banner, you can crop out everything else you don't need. Okay, so again, it's a couple clicks, but it's nice because people can't change it. They don't have to click on play. It just automatically plays. So that's good for slideshows. It's good for websites, things like that. Okay, let's look at the paid for version for a second. So we're going to do 2 recordings here. Okay, so we're going to do, I've been using this all morning. How am I not logged in? Give me 1 second. Let me sign back in. Be embarrassing if I forgot my password in front of all you. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 different recordings and we're going to see how with the paid version that I can bring them together. I can basically make my own movie. So you'll see me switch back and forth, but in here I am going to do a recording. I'm going to record the desktop. I'm going to switch over here, screen 1. I'm going to cut back over here. So here's my recording 1. This is where I am going to change my theme. And you'll see when you change your theme, it applies to both colors or both slides, and it automatically changes all the colors. Stop that. That's going to record. Okay. Now I'm going to name this recording 1, just so you guys can see it in the example. And then I'm going to do my second recording. Did I not hit record? I thought I did. Okay, let's try this again. What did I do? Oh, there it is. Okay. So here's my recording number 2. So I'm just going to demonstrate how to add a background color to an individual slide. And you can see that it does not automatically change the color like a theme. So I'm going to stop that. Now I want to create a training video with the theme versus the background. Okay, so this is my recording number 2. And I'm going to look at all of my recordings. Okay. And really, I mean, you can kind of go in any way that you want. I'm going to say the one that you want to start off with, it's easier to have that one first when you go into your editor. Okay. So I'm going to have my recording number 1 open, and I am going to say open in editor. You're going to see the screen's going to look a little bit different. If you don't have the paid for version, it's going to say you need to upgrade. Okay, so you can see down here, it brings in my recording, shows my audio at the bottom. Okay, I have the ability to crop beginning and end, so I can click and drag and crop. I can zoom in and out. I can add media, all these things that I can do. But before I do anything else, I want to add my second video. Okay. And the timeline down here, this is important because this is where things are going to happen. So as I click and drag this around, that's where items are going to be placed. So I want to add my second video. So I'm going to pull that from my drive. Notice it does not have to come from your drive. So you can upload a video. So I'm going to bring in my second recording. So then you can see now I'm going to just place them all together. So you might have 5 or 10 minutes one day to start something, get it recorded, record what you can, finish it the next day, then you can bring the two videos together. Okay. So what else can I do? So you can see here, I don't know what is going on with this. You can see here, I have other media that I can add. So there's something in here called a title. I love this because this is how you can begin your video. So if you're sending something home to parents, you can say welcome or introduce yourself, whatever it might be. So notice I didn't move so I want to move this. Okay. I'm going to move my title up here. I got to move this guy too. There we go. Now I got it going. Okay. Be careful. I just warned you guys about that's where things are going to be placed, and I forgot myself to move it. So let's get our stuff typed in here. So I can say themes versus backgrounds. Okay, so you'll see two issues that happen when you start this. Why it does this, I don't know. It puts black text on a black background. So as long as I have my box selected, I can start going through, and this is pretty narrow over here. Okay, so you're going to have to scroll through things. So I can scroll down, I can change my text. I had you selected. Maybe I didn't actually type anything. I thought I was. I can change the color. Yeah, I did not type anything. I thought I was typing in there. Okay, so let's do, I'm just going to make this very crazy looking. Oops. Themes versus backgrounds. And then I can change the size just by clicking and dragging. And then I only have a few font sizes that I can pick from. Okay, so, and then that's showing me that it's going to play this long throughout my video. So a couple seconds. And then it's going to go right into my recording. So a few other things that you can do with your recordings. On top of your recordings, you can add text. So this is not a title. A title is considered media because it's separate. It's creating a new slide. You can have them in the middle to separate sections, whatever it might be. Text goes on top of your slide. So you can see here, it's going to go right on top of it where my indicator bar was placed. So then I can say, I cannot type there. And it's going to play for a few seconds. Now, if it's playing too long, I just click and I can shorten it. So all of these are, I can extend it, I can shorten it. It's going to crop things out as I'm changing it. The other thing that I can do is not only add text, but I can blur things out. So maybe, for example, you have a student's name and you don't want it visible. Okay, so right here, I get to this screen and it says the student's name at the bottom. So I'm going to click on my blur tool. It brings up a box and it allows me to blur out. Then once I am done, I don't know why that, I'm just clicking around. I must have been in the wrong spot. Let me delete this. So I'm going to delete this blur tool. Yeah, I want to be over here. There it goes. Okay, so you can see here, here's my blur. So it's showing me how long it's going to be and how long it's going to play. So it will stay in the same spot for as long as your time as long as you have it displayed. Okay. If your screen is moving around, then you're going to have to create multiple blurs. Okay. We can also zoom into certain sections. So if you want to zoom in, maybe you want to show them how to use the present tool. So from here, I'm going to scroll just a little bit. I'm going to tell them to hit present. So I'm going to say zoom in. Now, why are we not zooming? Why am I grayed out? There we go. Okay, there's my zoom tool. So now if I want to zoom into the present area, I can say, okay, kids, this is where you're going to click. You're going to see the present in the upper corner. You're going to zoom in. You're going to say done. And then when the video plays, I'm going to kind of go through it fast. You can see how it zooms into that section. Okay. And again, same as my blur, I can make it longer to display or shorter time frame to display. Okay. So I have all these different tools. I combine things together. If I have something else I can stick in there. Oh, I can cut this. So maybe you sneezed in the middle of it, your phone rang, something happened. I can cut a section. So if I'm looking here, I can say cut, it's going to break it into two, and then I can crop from the beginning. I can crop from the end of those two videos. Okay, so that's kind of a nice feature too. You know, sometimes we get distracted, something happens, so you can cut out in the middle. Unlike the free version, it's only at the beginning and the end that you can trim. Once I am done, I have to export this video. It does not just automatically save as you go, so be aware of that. It does not do anything with your video until you hit export. Okay, so once I hit export, I can export it to my drive, or I can export it as an MP4. So I'm just going to put it in my drive and call this combined video. And I'm going to ask you guys, where do you think it's going to place this at? It just told you, your Screencastify folder. So it automatically puts it in there for you where all your other videos are. So if you need to share it, you can share just like you would any of your other videos. When I go to my drive, I go into Screencastify, I now have my combined video. Okay. There's a lot more I can keep showing you, but I know we have 5 minutes left. So I want to take a minute to see if you guys have any questions or any part of the edit tool that you might have been struggling with or trying to use and haven't been successful with. Anything, you can feel free to unmute, or you can type in the chat. Okay, if you are typing, I'll give you another few minutes, but I'm going to put in the chat, if you are taking this for CEUs, you can fill out for your certificate. If you are going for credit, this is 1 hour towards your 15 hours on your Ashland log sheet. Okay, so there is the URL for your certificate. And I'm going to pause that. Okay. So we'll finish up here. So if there are no more questions, have a wonderful rest of your summer, since this is our last Lunch and Learn. We'll probably see you for some type of training in August, maybe. But if you guys have any questions, you can always reach out to us, with anything as you guys start the school year. So have a great day. Make sure you guys click on that link if you need your CEUs. Thank you, everyone. And yes, Sandra, I love the edit tool as well. It's nice to be able to edit the videos.